Fred, thank you. You have identified poor leadership as one of the challenges holding Africa back, and you've taken matters into your own hand by studying an academy to develop such leadership. In what way is leadership a challenge, and how can it be resolved?
I believe that leadership is a challenge in Africa because we have weak institutions as a continent, and therefore the difference that just one or good leader makes in a given country is much, much greater here than anywhere else in the rest of the world. And unfortunately, I think the leaders we've had in the past haven't necessarily delivered the best for the people of Africa, which you can see in all the statistics, infant mortality rates, poverty statistics, job creation, or unemployment, and so forth. There's just, there's no hiding that fact. So we need to take a very deliberate approach to saying, how do we identify and develop better leaders for Africa who will really serve the interests of the people and not necessarily just themselves, and who will be much more accountable and deliver and understand that the people are really my customers and I need to deliver excellent world-class service to them, and then get out of their way so that they can use their own ingenuity to drive prosperity and growth on the continent.
You have operated the academy here in South Africa, and we are very pleased that you founded it here, much as we are unhappy about a couple of things. Tell me, from where you're sitting and observing how South Africa operates, where do you think we come short, and what are the opportunities that the country has to grow and create opportunities?
Well, I think for me, if I was South Africa, there are three things I would focus on more closely. One is really creating policies that promote youth employment. There's a ticking time bomb here where there's young people coming out of universities, coming out of high schools, who don't have jobs, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse unless policies are created that make it much, much easier for young people to get employed. And so that means, for example, I hate to say this, but unions need to come to the party to say, because during the apartheid years, it was absolutely correct for unions to fight for the highest wages. But now, the war is not against apartheid, it's against poverty and against youth unemployment. So we need to bring down, to work with unions so that young people can get lower, can get employed. And that might mean accepting things like youth wage subsidies and so forth. The second thing I think South Africa needs to do is to really embrace the rest of the continent much more, because South Africa has a unique opportunity to really attract Africa's best talent to come and live here, and then use that talent to drive South Africa's economic growth and growth into the rest of the continent. And instead, we're seeing things like xenophobia and difficulties in getting work permits for the best talent in Africa to come and work here and so forth. And that for me is a real opportunity that South Africa is losing, or is in danger of losing. And the third thing I would say that South Africa needs to do is to really fight against corruption and the lack of good governance, to improve the governance and strengthen its institutions, so that businesses from all over the world will want to come and invest here in a friendly investor environment, and then create the jobs that this country needs. Because some of the policies that are being created maybe are making it less and less friendly for investors to come here. Which is sad, because this is really the most developed country on the continent, and should really be using its assets to get even further, and not really driving away foreign investors.
Fred Swaniker, thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.